teams, get ready to go. Shoot, promo, shoot, promo. Stating your opinion, are you serious, bro? Shoot, promo, shoot, promo. Talking about some wrestling for just a little bit. Shoot, promo, shoot, promo. Tagged explicit so we can say shit. Fucking shoot, promo, shoot, promo, shoot, promo, shoot, promo. Fight for your life, wait not your life just for a prize. There is no prize, just fucking fight. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Shoot, promo, shoot, promo, shoot, promo, shoot, promo, shoot, promo, shoot, promo. I shot the promo, but I do not shoot the deputy. Shoot, promo, shoot.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in internet land. Welcome to another edition of Shoot Promo, the only wrestling game show in the world. I'm your host, Red Reddington. We have another two teams of three wrestling fanatics ready to dissect, discuss, and dilute the past week of wrestling. So let's have a look at this week's teams. Team A, who have called themselves Burials LLC, limited liability company, teamed by their chairman, JP.
Hopefully my board of directors doesn't decide to go through 3 COOs in 2 months.
You never know in this game. And then I suppose the executive vice president of talent relations is Mr. RedMachineD.
Did somebody say executive vice president of talent relations?
And executive president to deal with race-related issues is the always minty fresh Mintzs.
That's me. If the Ku Klux Klan think white people are better, how come they dress like Muslim women?
Okay. And on the other side, we have.
Good thing we got that explicit tag.
Yeah, we should mention the explicit tag. So there we go.
Fuck.
Team B, who've called themselves this week X amounts of terrible dumps, are headed by the memory of Shoot Promo. It's TerraRyzing.
Hello there.
So polite,
Hello.
so nice, he's so nice. Hello. Joining him is the man who thinks he's going to be, let me just read this, I think he said, mowed down. So mowed down, to be mowed down today is BX.
I was hoping we were going to be the JOB squad this week, so I could be Bob Holly and kill some monkeys.
Descending from the sun.
Descending from the sun. And, of course, the man who's had many partners in Shoot Promo, not all of them sexual, it's Mr. WindowDump.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, tell me, mirror, will I choke? Will it be my sexy voice? Will it be my stupid jokes?
Rhymes everywhere this week. Rhymes everywhere. God, okay.
These rounds gave points.
And of course we have our lovely studio audience who are here to boo, cheer, and generally be here. Hello, studio audience.
Hello, Rangers.
Yay! They're all here. They're all saying stuff. That's cool. Let's go through the rules. As per usual, the teams will attempt to answer questions about the past week in wrestling, as well as taking part in some more improvisational rounds. Along the way, they'll be awarded points for being funny, positive, and original, whilst having points deducted for moaning, groaning, and making sweeping, generalized statements. Points will be awarded and deducted with accompanying sounds. For example, if they say something slightly funny, they'll be awarded 1 point, and they'll hear this noise. Oh God, it's a little bit quiet this week. Lost my track. If they say something funnier, they'll be awarded 2 points, which sounds like this. And if they say something hilarious, they'll be awarded 3 points, which sounds like this. On the other hand, of course, if they start drifting too far off topic or say something terribly unfunny, I'll deduct points, which sounds like this. Okay, well, seeing as none of our players were hitting the spine with a sledgehammer for 30 minutes this week, we can start as usual with winners and losers. This opening round allows the panel to build up an early lead for their team by telling each of us who they feel are this week's biggest winners and or losers. For example, they could say that this week's biggest winner was Shoot Promo, after R-Truth and Miz played 6 Degrees of Russo at Vengeance this past Sunday. You could also say that this week's biggest loser was Shoot Promo, because let's be honest, no one watched Vengeance. More lost publicity. So that being said, who do you think are this week's biggest winners and or losers? Let's go to Burials LLC. Let's go to the team captain, JP, your winners and or losers for this week.
Oh, this week's winner is Sin Cara because this past week on SmackDown, he defeated the evil Sin Cara, and it was in his hometown of Mexico City, which was great. But the better thing about this is he gave the evil Sin Cara something in return, a face. Unfortunately, it's a face that prefers to be held behind a mask. This week, first off, we have the WWE pay-per-view ring crew, because one, who build mache sets, and two, who builds a ring that isn't able to hold both of the main eventers that are 500 pounds of... Like, what the hell? That's just shoddy ring construction there. The other loser in this is Air Boom, because what kind of face team gets thrown out for interference?
It was very true. I was horrified to see Mark Henry and Big Show go through the ring this week. Let's go to the other side. Let's go to TerraRyzing. Your winners and or losers.
This week's winner is Antonio Cesaro for one, making William Regal jealous of his uppercuts, which is not a hard thing to do, which is not an easy thing to do, I am told. And this week's loser would have to be John Morrison for continuing to job out, presumably just because WWE hates his girlfriend.
It's the strange reason to just hate someone just because you don't like their girlfriend. I mean, we've all been there, guys, haven't we? Let's go to the other side. Let's go to RMD, your winners and or losers for this week.
The winners this week are Mosh and Thrasher, the headbanger tag team from the Attitude Era, have actually recovered a bit of their fame over the week because they've made some YouTube videos challenging other tag teams from other promotions, and Air Boom, Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne answered the challenge and accepted. Kofi Kingston telling them on Twitter to contact JL, presumably John Laurinaitis, Executive Vice President of Talent Relations, to contact him about getting a job and perhaps even joining the WWE after, oh God, how many years has it been? Anyways, it's been over a decade, which would be an amazing thing for the careers of two guys who, let's face it, they were an underrated tag team. They were a hell of a lot of fun back then. Let's see if they still got the old spark. Losers, on the other hand, this week are anybody who bought Vengeance because they were probably by themselves doing it. They have no friends, which means that the buy rates and the eyes seeing it were rather low, even though it was a pretty good pay-per-view. So while these people are sitting there alone at home, in their flannel pants, sitting there eating Cheetos and drooling Mountain Dew all down their fronts, are looking around and thinking, well, this is a great pay-per-view, I just wish I could share it with somebody.
I would have given you 2 points there, but you were insinuating that I wear flannel shirts and eat Cheetos and drink Mountain Dew, which I do. I do none of those, apart from possibly flannel shirts and Cheetos and Mountain Dew. Let's go to PX. Your winners and or losers this week.
Well, let me see. Right. Our winners this week are the TNA fans because they, spoiler alert if you don't know this already, I mean, fuck off, is that Bobby Roode is getting a world title match with James Storm for free on television, probably to bump the ratings, so take that, the pay-per-view business. And also, anyone who's a fan of wrestling inside a ring, because in the main event of Vengeance, you had John Cena and Alberto Del Rio in the Last Man Standing, and they felt despite the fact that the ring was destroyed and slanted, they still wrestled a good 10 minutes inside that ring for no apparent reason. The losers, I guess, is the same answer you can give just about any week, which is the WWE fans. Because Triple H was killed on television. Like, I'm not saying he was just killed. He was literally killed because you had those EMTs running around asking, does he have a pulse? Does he have a pulse? Because that's right, Kevin Nash murdered him live on television. And you also get a billion Johnny Ace angles, and you get Jim Ross versus Cole in the Michael Cole Challenge. What is the Michael Cole Challenge? We don't know because creative haven't come up with it yet.
That is. We are waiting with bated breath for the possibility of the Michael Cole Challenge. That is certainly going to come up in future rounds of Shoot Promo. Let's go over to Mintzs. What do you have to say for winners and losers this week?
Right. Winner this week would be Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs got a brand new book out, which is a biography, which is maybe hitting #1 for Christmas. Bad thing, however, Bischoff's wife has brought out a book also called Common Sense Happiness. I have not met anyone with the second name Bischoff that's got any sense of common sense happiness. Another winner this week would be Strepsils, who should really look into the WWE for merchandise for John Laurinaitis' sore throat. Biggest loser this week? Well, losers would like to point out that it should be Mark Henry and the Big Show. Is it just me, or did Mark Henry and the Big Show make a bigger air boom than air boom? Also, I'd just like to point out that was the biggest fall from grace for the both of them since Omega BR get kicked out of 420 Chan.
Ooh.
Topical.
Wait, what? Pipe bombs everywhere. Before we derail the show, let's move over to WindowDump. Save us, WindowDump.
Derail it a different direction.
Of course, this week's biggest winner is, of course, Ricardo Rodriguez, who refused to let WWE Hall of Famer The Fink announce him at FCW because, you know, The Fink was in FCW just to be able to put over Claudio Castagnoli during his debut. I mean, Antonio Cesaro. So yes, Ricardo showed The Fink how to announce a heel Mexican. And the biggest loser this week is Ricardo Rodriguez's balls for their untimely death on pay-per-view.
I like the idea of just on FCW television you get, and now it's time for Ricardo Rodriguez's personal ring announcer, Ricardo Rodriguez.
Boo. If he can announce himself, I mean, that's great. I announce myself every week, you know. That's great.
There are many people that announce themselves.
Yeah.
Damas y caballeros.
Maybe some people on this show should get personal announcers. Okay, let's have a look at the scores after that round. Oh, it's interesting. In the lead this week with 16 points so far are Burials LLC with 16 points. Trailing behind are X amounts of terrible dumps. And JP spamming the chat.
Is he on a train?
With 10 points.
Sorry.
In a public place, I believe.
He's in a public place. He's outside. Good God. Let's
Public
move on.
What's an outside?
Let's move on to this week's WWE
It's an
round,
MMO.
which is about tag team partners. Team captains, which of your partners have you chosen to answer this week's WWE question? Let's go to those slightly behind. Terra, who have you chosen to answer WWE?
I have chosen WindowDump.
I watch NXT and Superstars.
Okay, cool. Just a general
you'll be
CV
really good
throwing
at
it
this.
out there. JP, who have you chosen to answer your WWE round?
I have chosen Mr. Red Machine D.
RedMachineD versus WindowDump. Okay, here is your question. This week on Raw, we were treated to 30 minutes of Triple H dying live on television. But more importantly, we were told that John Cena was allowed to pick a partner for a match against Miz and R-Truth. Cena picked the great one, the jabroni-eating, pie-stealing, most electrifying tooth fairy in history, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But let's be fair. I mean, there were numerous other options available to Cena. There was an entire roster of celebrities, an entire Hall of Fame of Academy Award winners. So who from the world should Cena have chosen instead of The Rock to be his partner, and why? Let's go to WindowDump first. Who should Cena have picked?
Well, none other than one-time WCW champion, star of the hit 2000 film Ready to Rumble, David Arquette. I'm sure he's not doing anything worthwhile at this time, and who knows? He's a one-time WCW champion. That's something that The Rock has never been. He's obviously got to be better than The Rock in some sort of way, like having hair.
I'm tempted to deduct a point from you because The Rock has been a 2-time WCW champion, but he's never been a one-time.
but he's never been a one-time. Well, okay,
Well, he
he's
has
not
been
a
one-time once, at least.
But yeah, well, David Arquette's been a one-time champion for like years now.
Yeah, that's true. He's done it longer. Okay.
Experience.
Let's float over to the other side. Let's go to RMD. Who from Hollywood should Cena have picked?
Okay, well, the thing is, he picked The Rock, and I don't understand how a television on a cart is going to be able to participate in a tag team match. But it's probably going to be more participation than Jim Ross put in, so maybe the cart's just going to fall over on the guy who's down and pin him. Anyways, what he should have picked is Jack Black, because as we all know by now, the WWE is trying to court the youth vote. And by youth, I mean like 8, 9-year-olds and everything. And Jack Black makes a bunch of movies that appeal directly to 8, 9, 10-year-olds and everything because he's so wacky, and he goes out there and he says, yeah, freedom and rock and roll, and a bunch of other crap that a bunch of people have not participated or otherwise paid attention to, because good God, if he's not making a Tenacious D movie, his stuff sucks. But what he really has to do is just go in there and act like a weirdo for 20 minutes, get the pinfall, cash a paycheck, and get the WWE mentioned on Variety magazine again, and he'll have fulfilled his job. And really, when it comes down to it, The Rock is just there to boost ratings anyways. Wouldn't Jack Black do the same damn thing?
Arguably, yes. I should say, if there are any 8 or 9-year-olds listening to this show, fuck off.
Jerry Lawler's coming for you, kids.
Yeah.
Oh.
We might have to cut that bit out. Okay, let's have a look at the scores after that round. Still ahead with 21 points are Burials. I just want to say Burials Incorporated. We should have stopped with Incorporated. LLC. And trailing behind with 12 points are X amounts of terrible dumps. So lots of play, lots to build up. But it's okay.
Ouch.
We've got a free-for-all round coming up now. They're good at their job. We've got a free-for-all round coming up, which is this week entitled "The Numbers Don't Lie." As the great mathematician Scott Steiner once said, I'm doing him an egg. So we're doing this round, which is all about stats and facts. I'll present the teams with a stat or figure, and the teams have free reign to guess what the number refers to. A bonus 3 points will be awarded to any person that manages to actually guess what the answer is. So this week's number is 978. 978. It's a free-for-all round, so anyone can jump in. What does 978 refer to?
The number of people who bought Bound for Glory 2011.
The number of people that JMO has jobbed to.
Number of people that bought Vengeance.
Number of title reigns John Cena is about to have.
Number of people we want to listen to this show.
The number of days John Cena has been champion.
Correct amount of Raw episodes.
The amount of SmackDown.
It does have something to do with Vengeance. I'll give you that. It has something to do with Vengeance.
Estimated property damage to the ring.
Does have something to do with rings.
Number of concussions suffered. Oh, don't forget it.
No, it wasn't. Nothing to do with concussions. It has something to do with Big Show and Mark Henry.
Amount of times. The amount of weight in the ring at the exact same time that caused it to collapse.
Yeah, we go. Bonus 3 points for Mr. JP there. Well done. It was the ballpark figure, according to Wikipedia, for the amount of weight in pounds that was required to break.
What was it, 978?
978 pounds. Doesn't really matter because Mark Henry, Big Show's weight changed over the course of the match. He started off at being 500 pounds when he entered. Then he was 460, and then he went all the way up to 600. So yeah. I'm just not sure whether or not that was because Big Show's weight changes when he's at different heights. I'm not sure.
Well, it's possible that when
cameras.
Mark Henry and Big Show traded punches, they traded weight.
That's actually true. What PX said, the camera does add 10 pounds. So if there were more cameras on Big Show, he would have weighed more. So in his entries, he weighed less. Yeah, that's
Good thing that wasn't a no DQ match, or else they would have thrown cameras at each other, and then the ring would have collapsed without the superplex.
Okay, let's have a look at the scores after that brief round. Picking up a little bit more ground on 17 points, X amounts of terrible dumps, but with 26 points. Still in the lead are Burials LLC. We're going to move into our TNA round. We're going to move into our TNA
Still 9
round.
points.
Yes, it's 9 points, but you build up with this. It's okay. It's good. You're doing well. Don't be disheartened. There's a lot to play for.
You're all lovely, wonderful people.
Yeah, that's all that matters at the end of the day. This week's TNA round is all about Eric Bischoff. So, team captains, who have you selected to answer this week's TNA question? Tara, who have you selected to answer about TNA?
PX.
PX, excellent. Okay, and JP, who have you selected to answer about TNA?
The Great Mintzs.
The Great Mintzs. Okay, so it's Mintzs versus PX. Okay, this week on Impact Wrestling, it was revealed that Jackson James was none other than Garrett Bischoff.
Oh my god, that was an awesome soundboard.
Oh shit, it's Garrett Bischoff! That's Eric Bischoff's son, by the way, if you didn't catch on. If you didn't catch on, he also has his surname tattooed on his chest, presumably just in case he forgets how to spell it on his greeting cards. So the family tree reaches far and wide. Who knows where a family member might turn up next within TNA? Well, maybe our panel do. So which members of Bischoff's family are hiding with me? I should warn the team at this crucial stage of the game. There are a bonus 5 points for our mystery answer this week. Ooh. The delay on that was good. Okay, so yeah, there's a bonus 5 points hiding out there somewhere. So let's go over to PX first. Hidden members of the Bischoff family within TNA.
Mexican America are all his children. That's my opening. It might seem incredible to think, but if you know Eric Bischoff and you know his raging libido for Latinas, then you can understand that Lowrider and Hernandez are in fact his children, and Sarita and Rosita are his adopted children, and / lovers.
What does this make Anarchia?
I'm sorry, what? Eric Bischoff raging libido?
I'm willing to
Can't ignore his girth.
Good God, I suddenly want to read Bischoff's wife's book. Mintzs.
I have his book, actually.
Mintzs, care to any other members of Bischoff's family hiding within TNA?
I wouldn't actually say that it's in this particular era of TNA. I'd actually say that somewhere backstage there's at least a portal that would take you to Bizarro TNA world, where Eric Bischoff is Freshest Curb, however you say Eric Bischoff backwards, where in fact where enough of your fucking spamming, JP.
Sorry.
No, fucking sorry you. Where in fact TNA is an actually well-adjusted place, where there's no Hulk Hogan, where Mexican America is a decent tag team, not related to anyone, and that's about it. Seriously, I can't go over Eric Bischoff's raging libido. I can only imagine I can honestly imagine his enormous girth.
Well, it certainly explains how he fucked TNA.
You can have a bonus 2 points there, JP, for that. Sadly, no one got the bonus answer there, which was a bonus 5 points for anyone who said, in Eric Bischoff's voice, "You buried my father!" And then Hulk Hogan replied, "No, Eric, I am your father." So, you could have had 5 points for that.
No.
I don't think that's a bad enough swerve for TNA.
It would have to be, you buried my father. No, I pushed your father.
I am your father, brother.
I pushed
I pushed your father. Then I
You came out of my loins, dude.
Well, I'm
pushed
your
your
son
father
and
in the
your brother?
casket.
Oh dear. Okay. Definitely.
I raised
Just
just
don't get behind the
5,000
wheel,
pound
brother.
father above my head and slammed him down in front of the 5 million raging Hulkamaniacs.
I think future note: Wrestle Recast Star Wars. Okay, let's have a look at the points after that round. Still behind on 21 points are X amount of terrible dumps. And thanks to those 2 points scored by JP with his bonus little jab in there at the end, on 30 points are Burials LLC. It's okay though, because we do have another all-team round, so you can blame each other after this one. It's our new round this week, which is past the back round, which is called Card Subject to Change. In this round, each team will take on the role of a creative team, having to tackle a task that they will assign them. Sorry about that. As we all know, within the world of wrestling, plans are constantly changing even up until the last minute. From Austin suffering a neck injury to Robert Roode not being ready, brother. A sudden event can cause all booking plans to go out the window. In this round, that sudden event is me saying change. Whenever I do, the person speaking must pass on to the next person in their team, who can either continue the train of thought or derail it completely for a cheap gag. Points will be awarded at the end of the round for cheap gags and keeping the discussion flowing generally. So let's have a look. I think we'll let Team A go first, and then Team B can follow up and try and gain back their lead. Team A, your scenario is the following. You've just received word that new talent Wrestler X will be joining the roster. You must come up with his name, his gimmick, and his finishing maneuver, and a debut storyline for him. So we'll start with JP, move to RMD, and then on to Mintzs. So in your own time, Wrestler X debut.
Well, we have the new wrestler X, and he comes to the WWE because he was brought in by D-Generation X, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and he happens to be the distant relative of China, yet another member of D-Generation X. Thus his finishing...
Finishing up with the things that he has to do beforehand, but then they decide that, you know what, we're going to premiere this guy for about 4.5 months and put him on TV every week, and then after that we're going to send him down to FCW, run his ass right through the FCW name generator, and give him something retarded based on his previous indie work and his relatives, and we're going to give him the name of Flash Jackson.
Change.
Okay. Flash Jackson, the new Flash Jackson, shall debut back on FCW TV with a gimmick of a zombie Michael Jackson, with all the flesh coming.
I think we'll end it there.
Comes out to just beat it.
I would have to say that the scoring worked quite well in that round. JP, I gave you 1 point. Mintzs, I gave you 3 for your zombie Michael Jackson, and RMD got 2. So
I was actually trying to see feed, then he put in fucking Flash Jackson. I was actually just going to say he's a distant relative of Exhibit and is going to come out to X, going to give it to you.
Oh dear. Okay, let's go over to the other side. X amounts of terrible dumps.
X
amounts of terrible dumps. X, yes, good.
Oh god.
It all makes sense now. It all fits together. Did you know that X is X backwards? Okay, Team B.
Okay,
Mind
we just
blown.
booked the X division.
We did. Team B, you are on the creative team tasked with coming up with the build for Garrett Bischoff versus Eric Bischoff at Lockdown. So that's coming up with the build for Garrett Bischoff versus Eric Bischoff at Lockdown. So starting with Terra, moving to PX, and then WindowDump. In your own time.
Well, it's the classic father versus son sort of cliche story, isn't it? So you'd have to You'd have to have Garrett build himself up, have a training montage in the style
Change.
of Rocky.
So, there's no hype at all for Garrett Bischoff going into that. He'll probably be left off TV for a while, and when they remember the storyline again, they'll say fuck it and they'll change it. Swerve. Garrett's not, in fact, Eric Bischoff's son. Hornswoggle is Eric Bischoff's son.
Keep going.
So we got to build Hornswoggle up now. So there's only one way we can build him up, and he's going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Change.
Live on it.
And there's only one way we're going to be able to build him up, and that's going to be having him win the Bound for Glory series, which has been moved to a January through March event, and will not actually take place at Bound for Glory, but will instead take place at Lockdown. And in addition, Hornswoggle / Garrett will actually align themselves with Hulk Hogan in an attempt to make him relevant yet again. And this time, Hulk Hogan will actually manage to change alignments several times, at first being face, then heel, then a tweener, then a heel again, then a face, and finally ending up as a tweener as an attempt to put him over with whatever Twitter is trending right now. And so, when they finally get to Lockdown, they'll have themselves an electrified steel cage match for the TNA X Division Championship, which of course Eric Bischoff won during the Bound for Glory series by pinning a Best Clean with a finger poke of doom. And so from there, they'll have an electrified steel cage match, except the swerve this time is that the steel cage will actually be completely electrified and will not simply be a guy in the sound booth messing around with the lights and the sound every time somebody touches the steel cage while not wearing plastic gloves.
Whoa. You mean that's how it actually happens? No, go on.
I have to say that it was a fantastic build. Scoring 4 points in that round for his team was WindowDump there. Particularly for I can't remember what it was, but you scored points, so that's all that matters. PX, you scored 3. And Terra, I feel bad for cutting you off so early, but you scored 1 point there. So it's all good in the hood. Let's have a look at the scores and see what's going on after that round. On 28 points, our X amount of terrible dumps, and ahead on 34 points, Burials LLC. I keep saying Burials. I'm going to say Burials. Okay, let's move on to this week's pay-per-view round, which is all about Zack Ryder. I can't remember who's left. I think it's JP and TerraRyzing, I believe.
Yep, Captain versus Captain.
Captain versus Captain. It all comes down to this. Okay, so here's your question. This Sunday at Vengeance, Zack Ryder lost his match against Dolph Ziggler for the United States Championship. But that's okay, because he still has the Internet Championship. Steeped in mystery. No one knows where it came from or how it came to be. But maybe our panel can unearth the history of the championship. Maybe shed some light on the past holders of the belt. So, TerraRyzing, the history of the Internet Championship.
Well, the Internet Championship has a very not recorded history, but a very glorious history indeed. It first came to be in 1998 when Bill Gates had just made Windows 98. He decided, since Windows 98 was such a piece of shit, that he should make something else that's actually good. And so he decided it would be the Internet Championship. And he decided to give it to a wrestler that would be worthy of it. Unfortunately, since the Internet wasn't what it was today, then, he decided there was no wrestler worthy to give it to. And so he decided, instead of giving it to anyone, he would hide it in a temple where in 2008, a man named Zack Ryder would come and find it, and he would have to go through 10 trials just to be worthy of holding it. 1 was mentioning Twitter every 2 seconds, 2 was plugging his Facebook page every second, and 3 was making sure he links to his YouTube. And even though there were 10 trials, I decided to just name 3.
Oh, I was hoping for all 10. You disappointed me. Okay.
There could have been spiked hair and
it's probably been
many
for time.
maybe JP can maybe correct some of that history or maybe expand on some of those points. If it's totally wrong, then please do correct TerraRyzing. JP, the history of the Internet Championship as you know it.
Well, from my understanding of the Internet Championship origin, the original number one contenders for the belt, or rather, the people that got into the massive tournament that it involved, was all based on YouTube video hits that didn't exceed 1 million, because anybody that got more than 1 million obviously cheated. Now, it was indeed a 64-man tournament, though it wasn't really much of a 64-man tournament because it also involved various YouTube videos such as the dramatic squirrel and that one kid that, it was that Haru who kicked the ass of Kenny Omega the month. And each match involved a different gimmick in order to how internet worthy they are. One was a tweet battle royal, which actually involved 4 participants from each bracket, and whoever got more followers because of how they trended won the battle royal. And the next several rounds proceeded thusly until the final round when Zack Ryder faced, actually we can't even remember who Zack Ryder faced because Zack Ryder squashed him way too fast. It's unfortunate. And that's how the Internet Championship came to be. And the only reason that it's not really sanctioned yet by the WWE is because YouTube isn't owned by the WWE. Therefore, they do not recognize it.
There are suspicions that the man Zack squashed was in fact Triple H.
Very big suspicions.
I don't believe it. No, I don't believe a word it, to be brutally honest. The reason there's no recollection of why there was, this imaginary tournament is because back then you were trying to, upload information on a 300 baud modem.
That is very true. You can have an extra point for that. Let's have a look at the scores before people go overboard. The gap is closing. Still behind though on 35 points. I would give you a point for that, but that was too gross.
Fall into the gap.
Yes. With 35 points are X amounts of terrible dumps. With 39 points still ahead are Burials LLC. We move into our final round with 4 points in it. It's spontaneous promotion, our final round, where the teams try and make up some final points before heading in to defend the indefensible. 2 members of each team will randomly select a wrestler, situation, and wildcard by using the letters A to D. Bonus points will be given for good impressions and remaining in character as much as possible. Not necessarily just, doing a voice, it's the mannerisms as well of that voice. The end of the promo is one of the most important parts of a promo. As it's the last thing the listener hears, a snappy conclusion can turn a good promo into a great one, or a great one into a legendary one. So the wildcards this week are all things that our panel must work in at the very end of their promo to tie it all together. So team captains, who have you selected this week to be spontaneously promoted? Let's go to the losing team at the moment. The team slightly behind. Terra, who have you chosen to be spontaneously promoted?
WindowDump and PX, because I feel he would have a better chance of winning it than me.
Okay, WindowDump and PX.
You have a history of coming this round.
Okay, JP, on your side, who do you want to do?
RMD and myself.
RMD and yourself. Okay, right. Let's go to PX first. I'll let you have free reign of the board. What is your letter combination for this week?
BBC.
BBC. Going for the BBC. Okay, right. You are John Laurinaitis.
Yes.
You want your rematch. It can be for any title, real or imaginary. And your wildcard this week is you must end your promo with the Mariah Carey's "And I, EI, will always love you."
So that's Whitney Houston originally.
Is it Whitney Houston? Sorry. Sorry, Whitney Houston.
You've never
Terrible.
seen The Bodyguard.
It's also Dolly Parton as well. Dolly
You're
Parton.
full of crap.
Yeah, originally Dolly Parton.
Originally Dolly Parton. So everyone's done it, at least once. But this time it's going to be John Laurinaitis, who wants his rematch for any title, ending with, "And I will always love you." Take it away, PX.
Zack Ryder. I have to inform you first that I am the Executive Vice President for Talent Relations. And you may be wondering why Miz and R-Truth assaulted you last week. You see, your internet championship is very, very dear to me. And that's why I feel you should defend your internet championship one-on-one with me, Johnny Ace, live at Survivor Series, because I feel that this is what the WWE Universe wants to see. For you see, Zack Ryder, I will always love you.
Fucking brilliant.
Do you get John?
Want.
Do you... I'm sure after this show, several slash fics will hit the internet between John Laurinaitis and Zack Ryder. Okay, let's go to the other side. Let's go to JP. The letter combination for this week.
Oh man. ACD.
ACD. Okay, ACD. Okay, you are Gold Dust. You are busy creating a set of humiliating photoshopped wrestlers, Photoshop pictures of John Laurinaitis, the previous wrestler. You must end your promo with the line, "Congratulations, hope you have a happy retirement." So that's Gold Dust creating Photoshop pictures of John Laurinaitis, and congratulations, I hope you have a happy retirement.
Well, I've been going around and taking a look at the various things that have been going on around here, and I can tell that John Laurinaitis has been into some extremely interesting stuff. For example, I have seen Johnny Ace in a photo with China. And believe me, that is not what you want to see in a normal daily life. No. And I have also seen Great Hardy with Johnny Ace as well. And believe me, you don't want me to explain the... really don't want me to explain the situation around that. Because that's not even PG-13. And there was one other one. He was with... Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I have to go block someone on my Twitter real quick. Okay. Melina. Which, because Johnny Ace was humiliated by being with Melina, he decided to get rid of anyone who has ever been with Melina. Thus, John Morrison has been given the worst stuff. So Johnny Ace, once you see these photoshops and realize that they are not actually photoshops, then you, I hope, will go on to have a better life. But congratulations, and I hope you have a happy retirement.
Someone has to start a slow clap.
That was good.
I gave you a
Someone
bonus
added
point.
my slow clap was added as potato.
I have to say that you managed to incorporate logic in there as well, which is very, very rare on this show, that something logical happens. So now we can definitely say that that there's going to be some photoshops of Johnny Ace on Woo in before everyone gets banned again. Okay, let's go back over WindowDump.
Only if the Undertaker comes in and buries us.
WindowDump, your letter combination this week.
Can I get a CAB?
Can you get a CAB? Can you get a cab? Yes, you can. CAB. This is fantastic. When we wrote this, Cobra was hoping this would happen, and it has happened. I was hoping that John Laurinaitis and I Will Always Love You was going to happen, so we're getting two things here tonight. WindowDump, you are Mark Henry. You have just walked in on Mark Henry taking a dump. And at the end of your promo, you must work in a new rhyming catchphrase. So that's Mark Henry walking in on Mark Henry taking a dump, and you must end with a rhyming catchphrase. In your own time.
You know, I'm really bad at coming up with rhymes. The only way I can do that is if I steal old school rap lyrics and I don't have any in front of me.
That's okay. Just go for it, man. Go for it.
Just think of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and go from there.
All right. Let's see. Oh, Mark Henry, as I see you sitting there on my own throne, the throne of my bathroom, violating the sanctity of my throne as you take a vicious dump. I don't even know what you ate, but though I can smell it in the kitchen. Are you from the future, Mark Henry? Did you come back in time to when my toilet was not clogged up, so you'd be able to take a dump into my toilet? But anyway, Mark Henry, I will make sure that you join the Hall of Pain for what you're doing to my toilet. And incidentally, why do you have a boner right now? I'm not even naked. Why do I have a boner right now? This is weird. This is the strangest thing ever. I suppose the only man that can hope to stand up to the World Heavyweight Champion Mark Henry is the World Heavyweight Champion Mark Henry. So Mark Henry, at Survivor Series, I will see you. And yes, I will see you in the Hall of Pain, you little black candy cane.
Oh my god!
Insults everywhere.
We might as well just call this round Woo Creates /Fix. Okay, that leaves RMD with the slim pickings this week. Here's the good news: you don't have to be Mark Henry walking in on Mark Henry.
You know, I just want to say that in case anything I have to do pops up on this show, I immediately can play the theme from Doctor Who and do that while I'm talking about it, because how else is Mark Henry going to walk in on himself in the bathroom if the sergeant's not there?
Oh dear, Mark Henry and future Mark Henry. Okay, right, well, this is your scenario. It's actually quite a normal one, considering all the shit we've had before. You are Booker T. You've just won the Royal Rumble, and you must put over the Be a Star program. So, Booker T, Royal Rumble, Be a Star program in your own time.
All right, Joe. Now, you see, I've seen this move before. Now, what we got to do here, we got the Royal Rumble. We got this thing going on lockdown, you see. Now, what we got to do is we got to keep the bullying straight. We got to keep the bullying out of our schools. Eh? Now, what we got to do here, now, we've seen this before. Now, what we got to do here is we gotta make sure that the bullying gets out of the schools, you know. Now, what we got to do here... Sorry, I just choked on my own Booker T there. What we got to do here is we got to make sure that nobody's getting bullied at school. We got to make sure that the kids are starting to behave like kids. We got to make sure that everybody is doing what they got to do. Now, what we got to do here is we're making sure that the kids are bullying at school, and we got to make sure that everybody's having a good time at school. That we know what's going on now. I just won the Royal Rumble. Booker T 2011. Bullying, we coming for you, nigga.
Oh my lord.
Right here, right now.
Oh my god.
I know.
Right, well, I haven't even pressed calculate score yet, but I have a vague idea of who might have won this week, and it is actually quite close. There are 2 points in it this week. 2 points.
Oh.
Which means that if RMD had not said, "Bully, we're coming for you, nigga," it would have been a tie, and we would never have had that situation on this show before, and which would really had fucked up Defend the Indefensible. On 47 points are X amounts of double dumps, which means this week's winners with 49 points are Burial's Limited Liability Company.
LLC. Yeah.
Okay. No celebration because they know what's coming next, which is Defend the Indefensible, which this week is where we find out who the true champion of Shoot Promo is within this week's winning team. The team captain will assign both himself and his teammates with a letter A, B, or C. Each letter corresponds to a statement that no wrestling fan could possibly defend, but they will have to for 30 seconds. The person that defends the statement the best will be this week's winners. In a swerve, the players will be judged by the team they just defeated. So TerraRyzing, PX, and WindowDump will each vote separately on who they believe wins Defend the Indefensible this week. If there is a tie situation, I will cast the deciding vote. Okay, so 30 seconds. JP, assign your letters to your team.
For JP, RMD, and Mintzs, ABC.
ABC, okay.
Might as well just keep it simple.
He's keeping it simple for this week. Okay. Well then, JP, you're going first. Your statement to defend this week is: next week's Raw should consist of nothing but 2 hours of replays. Your time starts now.
Well, of course we should consider 2 hours of replays. I mean, obviously no one watches NXT or Superstars or SmackDown, so nobody's going to know what's going on there. And even though Raw is the only thing that is cared about, we're still going to have those shows, be noticed. So next week, we're going to give the Raw people the night off. That way we can show replays of Superstars in NXT and SmackDown. The only thing is there will be of Raw Superstars.
Went slightly over there. Should deduct points. Keep that in mind. Okay, let's go to RMD. RMD, your statement to defend is: Marty Jannetty should be the one to take the championship off Mark Henry. Your time starts now.
Well, you know what? The thing about Marty Jannetty is that he may be second place in the tag team standings, but he's number one in everybody's heart. And heart is what really matters when it comes to things like champions and championships and everything. And even though Marty Jannetty had a piss-poor career as a singles wrestler, always be a tag team wrestler, even though he's by himself. Showing that kind of heart is what really matters, and it doesn't matter if he's, 75 years old. He can still take on.
Okay, let's, and last but by no means least, Mintzs, your statement to defend is the following: Nick Hogan versus Garrett Bischoff should be the main event at Bound for Glory 2012 in a 180-minute Iron Man match. Your time starts now.
I really think that should happen because I would expect Nick Hogan to actually drive through the arena, straight down to the ring, and somehow crash and just destroy everything. That's probably the greatest thing that could ever happen. And for the next 175 minutes while they're laying in the ring, they're just lying on top of each other, and that's it. Well, the referee, whether it be Garrett with one fucking arm just slapping the ring constantly, 1, 2, 3, first fall, 1, 2, 3, second fall, 1, 2, 3, first fall, longest reigning.
Oh shit, Nick's driving. Okay, let's go to the other team. Let's see what they thought. TerraRyzing, who do you think is this week's winner?
I would have to say Mintzs.
As a vote for Mintzs, okay. PX.
I vote Mintzs.
Oh.
Oh.
It's essentially a win here, but let's just check if it was a clean sweep. WindowDump, who did you vote for?
Yeah, it was Mintzs. The idea of of him just constantly counting the pinfalls during the 180 minutes of the match. even if it's his own pin, even if it's him getting pinned.
Well, that does it then. Then this week's Shoot Promo champion, and I suppose the first undisputed champion, is Mintzs.
I am the Ayatollah of Mint and Roller.
Okay, I should probably say that again for dramatic effect. This week's winner of Shoot Promo is... Mintzs. There was a slight...
Mint the walls down!
Yes! He did it!
Okay, that was Shoot Promo episode 4. Thank you very much for listening. Our panel were this week on Burials LLC were JP.
I'm sorry. I just found out a highly confidential source that the actual origin of the Internet Championship was a last man standing match in Diablo 2 hardcore mode.
RMD.
You know, I should really say something witty here, but no.
Our new champion, the Minty Fresh Mints.
Yeah, dude.
The Warrior promo there. TerraRyzing.
Goodbye.
PX.
We'll always love you.
And WindowDump.
No, I don't transform and I don't change shapes. I don't take the bus, I don't shoplift tapes, but I used to. And if you choose to, there's something to pop on your iPod and cruise to.
I was your host, Red Reddington. Mintzs, stop the recording!